How viable is supporting yourself as an independent developer coming up? So today I want to talk about how viable it is to make a living as an independent developer. So I feel like there's two answers to this question. And the answer that gets chosen to the question revolves mostly around the experience that you have. Now, if you're a new developer, I would caution against this. If you haven't been doing game development for a long time, or you don't have a lot of experience in the industry or any industries at all, I would caution against doing this. One example of this is I came across this post on Reddit the other day, and this guy was talking about he's single, he's 25, he's got no other obligations in life. So he said basically that he's got some experience prototyping some stuff in Unity, and he's almost to the point where he'd consider himself intermediate, but he still considers himself a beginner. And he was wondering if he would realistically be able to survive off the income of being an independent game developer. One thing that he did say was that he's not being unrealistic enough to think that he's going to make the next huge game that's going to sell tons of copies, but what he was wondering is realistically, can he support himself on it? With the experience that he has or doesn't have. In my response to him, I decided that I was going to be brutally honest. I'm not trying to be mean about it per se, but I decided that honesty was probably the best answer here, the most useful. And so what I told him is that it's not necessarily that you can't do it, because maybe he will come out with a super successful product that will make him lots of money. That could happen, it has happened. But I said there's far less painful ways to go about doing this. So what I recommended is that he go and work for somebody else until he gets more experience and until he gets more confidence in what it is that he's doing. And hopefully that's another game development studio, but it doesn't necessarily have to be. So the reason I suggested he go and work somewhere else is because he'll learn about things that he may not have considered otherwise. He'll learn about what not to do, because every company makes its mistakes, and there's value in learning what not to do sometimes. And one of the most important things is that you get experience working with others, and that tends to be huge, especially in this industry. Now, even if you're a solo developer, you're going to wind up working with other people at some point, because you can't be an expert at everything. So you might be able to make little tiny games and be able to put them out by yourself. But if you go to make something that's a fairly decent sized production, chances are you're probably not going to be able to do that on your own. So networking and working with other people is super important. Another thing that I pointed out to him is that running your own business is a whole other monster. And of course it's possible. I've done it. And lots of other people out there have done it. But aside from just the game development, you have to worry about finances, you have to worry about marketing, you have to worry about distribution, you have to worry about project planning, networking, obtaining a clientele, your target audience, how you're going to get them to actually buy the product that you make. And there's so many other things that go into running a business, even besides those just high level points that I hit, like worrying about taxes and whatnot. All those things can wind up taking your time away from actually learning how to be a better developer. If you go to work for somebody else, all those things are taken care of for you. And in the short term, I think that that's a good thing. I think long term, if you want to work by yourself, that's perfectly fine. But I always feel like it's a good idea to go out and see the world and get that experience from elsewhere. Because if you just work in your own little silo, that's all you're ever going to know. And your ability to branch out and consider other things is going to be very, very limited. All right, so on the other half of this, if you have a lot of experience in the game development industry, then you probably know the answer to this already, and that yes, it is totally possible to make income as an independent game developer. I ran my own business for a little bit, and I made decent money doing it for a while. So personally, I chose to go work for other companies because I needed something that was stable and reliable as far as income is concerned. I'm married, I've got a mortgage to maintain, car payments, all those things, student loans to pay off, and I couldn't take the risk of not having stable income. And so for me, it was viable, but it wasn't stable enough. And so that was a decision that I made, but it's not necessarily a decision that's right for everybody. Will I go independent again sometime in the future? Maybe. But it's probably going to be quite a while away because I've got way too many things in my life right now that I just need. I need that stability of having an income that is stable and constant. I think for a lot of people, and it really depends on what kind of work you find. If you're doing contract work, there's a lot of contract work out there. There's a lot of people looking for developers to help them make their game. The thing is, you'll have to watch out for the small jobs that only pay small amounts, because the amount of work for a lot of those is almost never as small as it's estimated to be. The second answer to this is, if you've got a lot of experience and you know what you're doing and you've seen how businesses run, then yes, I think it's totally doable. I think it's something that you can learn as you go. If you are willing to take some of the risks that are involved with running your own business, then yes, it's definitely viable to support yourself on the income of an independent game developer. I know several people in the industry who run their own companies and are very successful and have no problems with income. It doesn't mean that they've always been there. Some of them that I know, it was a real grind for them to get to that point, but they persevered, they saw it through, and they made it. So it's just a constant grind that you have to make sure that you are up to going through. If stability is more your thing, then I wouldn't necessarily recommend working for yourself. So the ultimate answer is, it's up to you, it's up to your situation. Alright guys, so thank you so much for watching. I know this video was kind of long. As I said before, if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. Please hit the like button and leave me some feedback below. It helps me make sure that my content is useful, and if it isn't, then it helps give me some perspective on some things that I could adjust to make it more useful. So yeah, please leave me your feedback below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.